Hello and welcome to this mega episode of How Strong Are They Anyway? Now, I feel I must specify with this particular character which version I'm doing. I know literally last episode I said that it's stupid that you have to do that, but the Doctor is an exception because there are heaps of incarnations of the Doctor, which are all the same character technically, but they completely different pretty much in everything except memories and sometimes general morals. But even then, those are stretched sometimes. And yeah, so just to specify, for a Doctor to be worthy of me analysing in this episode, they have to pass two categories. A, they have to have at least starred in one complete season, and two, they have to have an on-screen them regenerating into the next Doctor after them. Alright, so not this one, not these, or these, or these, or these two, or is that canon? Is this canon? Yeah, not them. Okay, just these ones. And without further ado, let me start on the first
Emotions,
Doctor.
love, pride, hate, fear. Have you no emotion, sir?
Here, and this one lived for 500 years. As for strength, he ripped open two Daleks so that he and his granddaughter could hide in them. Daleks are known for being extremely hard to break open. In fact, these guns had trouble doing it. I haven't calculated this because it's unreliable as to which form of Dalek this is, because some Daleks can be destroyed with rocket launchers, as seen in this clip. Some Daleks are pretty much indestructible, but yeah, it's unreliable, but I will put it out there because I couldn't find much for the Doctor, for this incarnation of the Doctor. As for speed, he's actually incredibly slow, and here is seen struggling to keep up with his ordinary human companions, except that one. That one's a Gallifreyan. But anyway, he's very slow, and durability has no notable feats. Well, this one seems a bit weak. But as for intellect, he breaks the fourth wall here.
Incidentally, a happy Christmas to all of you at home.
He's one of only two Doctors to do this properly. I mean, there's this whole other video that I liked. It was about Doctor Who and breaking the fourth wall. It is debatable that heaps of the Doctors have done it, but only two of them. This is the one that is the most directly actually spoken to the audience. I reckon the 12th Doctor, he got second closest.
Can't wait to hear what I say. I'm nothing without an audience.
Anyway, on to the second Doctor.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
And this one lived half the time as the first, living 250 years. As for strength, he uses this sonic screwdriver to pull out 4 nails at the same time. Now, it has been established that push and pull forces, when you use the sonic screwdriver, entirely depends on the user's strength. And the strength to pull out 4 nails around this size from this material, but we can't really tell what this is, so we have to guess the sort of material. So it'll be around 1,779.29 newtons. As for speed, as you can see here, measured him running, it would be around 20 kilometers an hour, which is just above the 17 kilometers an hour average sprinting speed. As for durability, I'm sorry again, but I could not find any notable feats of durability for the second Doctor. There isn't that much action in the old black and white Doctor Who, but, yeah, sorry. As for intellect, he outsmarted this alien warlord who had studied all war strategies used on Earth throughout history. Very clever. Okay.
I didn't record myself saying we were moving on to the third Doctor, so I got this robot voice to do it.
All right, I suppose you want to see my pass. Yes, well, I haven't got one, and I'm not going to tell you my name either. Now, you just tell Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart that I want to see him. Well, don't just stand there arguing with me, man. Get on with it.
Impressive. He throws this man out of a car with one arm. He just sort of tosses him, and the average weight of a grown man in Britain at that time was around 83.6 kilograms, and the third Doctor just tossed him with one arm. As for speed, I'm very sorry. I couldn't find much at all. Aww. I couldn't find anything of him running that was very clear, and he doesn't actually run that much. He more uses vehicles. This was around the time where every character ever had to have the Batmobile or something. So, very sorry. I've done this as little as I can. I hate having to say no notable feats, but yeah, I'm sorry. As for durability, though, he survived being engulfed in lava that was covering the entire planet. To be fair, he was travelling back to the other version of Earth. That was his version of Earth. So he might not have actually been engulfed in the lava for any time at all. But I would like to give a response to that because it is a fair point, but at the same time...
Xavier, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, alright. As for Intellect, sort of ties into that durability one, and it's how he got to that alternate Earth. And he did this by creating a device that allows him to travel to another dimension. And he built this with only a broken TARDIS control panel and an ordinary Earth car. This is outstandingly intelligent. Now, onto the fourth Doctor.
I say that you're not fit.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
Look here.
And this one lived for 64 years. For strength, he breaks this brick in half, and this feat would have taken 28,000 newtons the way he did it. However, he probably did this because he was high on regeneration energy, but I couldn't find much else, and I didn't want to write no notable feats, so I just included this. But do be aware, he in fact tries to do this again, but he can't. So, I don't know. But the fourth Doctor did do it, so it is a feat of strength. So, yeah, onto speed. He dodges this gunfire, or more, he ducks out the way, and calculating how fast the gunfire is, the way he dodged it, how long he had to react, he probably went around 300 kilometers an hour. Very nice. So durability, he survived falling into the space-time vortex, a feat which is known to, destroy and kill things very well, just burn them right up, and the Doctor seemed completely fine. As for Intellect, he figures out and calculates the weight of something by analysing the way of which it squished a dandelion. No, I'm not joking. On to the fifth Doctor. And this one lived for 87 years, so is not the smallest one. Alright, for strength, he breaks the neck of a pterodactyl in the comic Warmonger, and figuring out the type of bone that a pterodactyl probably had, how thick it was, and the way and the angle of which he broke it, he probably used around 2,451.66 newtons of force. For speed, he outruns a Cyberman, who in this clip moves faster than sound, as is evident by the fact that the sonic screwdriver doesn't affect it whatsoever. And the speed of sound is very fast, and the fact that he outran the Cyberman means that he probably went around 1,226 kilometers an hour, which is insane. He's almost as fast as the fastest jet ever made. He can break the sound barrier, this Doctor, which no animal obviously hasn't done. As for durability, it's the fact that he survived running faster than sound. Pure friction that such a feat would create is enough to cook any normal human man, and the Doctor was completely fine afterward. As for Intellect, he solved a murder that had the police force scratching their heads within seconds just by looking at the scene. A real, what's his name, Sherlock Holmes kind of character here. Very, very intelligent. As for the sixth Doctor...
Spy on me! Well, we all know the fate of alien spies!
He lived for 53 years and carried an entire umbrella which can weigh up to 6.35 kilograms. I think is the strongest yet. Also, he's pretty good at strangling this chick. Anyway, for speed, he is seen walking around sometimes. You see, the average walking speed is around 6.5 kilometers an hour. For durability, he can survive the entire gravity of Earth in 1 point, which most humans do, but, not every creature or thing would be able to do this, so I want to give him some credit here. As for Intellect, he attempts to fix the TARDIS chameleon circuit. He doesn't do it, but he attempts it, which is very nice. Very, very good try of him. Anyway, that was so dumb. On to the 7th Doctor. And he lived for 56 years. As for strength, he lifts this rock to crush the Master's head. He doesn't end up doing it, but he lifts it up with his bare hands. It appears to be sandstone, and sandstone weighs around 2,323 kilograms per cubic meter, and the stone seems to be 7.65 cubic meters, and thus he lifted 177.7 kilograms. As for speed, look, I don't want to do this again. There's no notable feats. I'm sorry. For durability, he survived being shot several times here. And he only died because his surgery went wrong, and the surgeons were kind of dumb. They gave him gas that would kill him because he had so many bullet wounds and he couldn't heal. Anyway, for Intellect, he managed to turn Eternals, 11th dimensional beings from another universe, into regular humans by breaking a crystal in a certain way. Yeah, comics are weird, man, even by Doctor Who standards. As for the 9th Doctor,
Fantastic.
remember we're not doing the 8th because he didn't have a season. Anyway, for the 9th, he lived for about 100 years. It appears we only see less than a year in the season is in, but he did live about 100 years in total. For strength, he rips this mannequin's head off. However, if you look at the mannequin, it appears to be solid plastic, possibly by the fact that it's modified with this weird alien thing, and it also seems that it's not meant to be detached, and so it's an estimate of 9,406 newtons. By breaking it off cleanly, the way he did it, the angle of which he did it. Anyway, for speed, he is seen keeping up with this double-decker bus, and on this road, because we know where it was filmed, it typically goes around 38 kilometers an hour. Thus, the Doctor was running that fast. For durability, he can hold off regenerating for at least 3 minutes and 33 seconds after absorbing the heart of the TARDIS and presumably using it to heal Rose because she seemed fine enough to doing it herself. We only say for at least 3 minutes and 33 seconds because this is the amount of time the episode went between him absorbing it from Rose and him regenerating. But because Rose wakes up after being unconscious, it might have been a lot longer. On to the 10th Doctor.
It's taken me all these years to realise the laws of time are mine, and they will obey me!
And he lived very short compared to all the other Doctors, only living for about 7 years. This is the Doctor that had 4.5 seasons. For strength, he lifts this manhole cover with one arm, something that I've already brought up twice in videos. And that weighs 113 kilograms, so very strong. As for speed, he runs the length of his height in half a second, but the way he did it is needed to be taken account into, and thus he probably ran about 23 kilometers an hour. For durability, he survived falling from this massive height through glass and onto this not so soft ground. So yeah, good job. But the glass, right, is nothing to be brushed off. The fall, yeah, it would splatter a human for sure, but the glass, the way he's fallen, the way it shattered, the glass should have gone straight through a human. Like, they would have been dead before they hit the ground, simply because they smashed through this glass. But the 10th Doctor, while he was hurt, he wasn't dead. He wasn't ripped into bloody pieces. And so this is a huge feat of durability. As for intellect, he is introduced to a technology from the year 100 trillion and is able to understand it and how to fix it and use it to launch a spacecraft within seconds or minutes, just by looking at the exterior of it for a little bit. As for the 11th Doctor...
Listen, you lot, you're all whizzing about. It's really very distracting. Could you all just stay still a minute, because I am talking!
He lived for 1,200 years, passing all the others. For strength, he lifts this massive door, and the door seems to be made out of concrete. Concrete weighs 2,400 kilograms per cubic meter, and the door is 28 cubic meters as has been measured here, which means it was 67,200 kilograms, and he lifted it just with his arms, because remember, the sonic screwdriver, push and pull force depends on the user's strength. I already explained that in the 2nd Doctor, but you might have not been listening or just forgot, because you all have very short attention spans, as do I. Anyway, as for speed, he steps out the way of punches from a trained professional who was likely punching around 51.5 kilometers per hour. Yeah, so very, very good. For durability, he survived being pulled apart by his own timeline, a feat that earlier killed an extremely powerful hive mind. I mean, sure, Clara did it with no problem, but that was because of destiny and stuff, so yeah, good job, Doctor. As for intellect, for one, he actually has an estimate for an IQ. Unlike every other Doctor, I searched, by the way, I searched very well, and his IQ is compared to the character Q from Star Trek. That's right, they had a crossover. Don't ask. And his IQ is said to be around 2,500, and thus the Doctor probably has an IQ. The 11th Doctor has an IQ around that. So yeah, that's it. But an actual feat of intelligence is that he outsmarted a supercomputer that possessed half of his brain. So he used half of his brain to outsmart the other half of his brain, plus a supercomputer that was also sort of a hive mind of other supercomputers. As for the 12th Doctor...
Many seconds. In eternity.
And finally the last. He lived 94 years. For strength, he breaks through this wall 3 times faster than a normal man would have. Sure, it took him a couple billion years, but meh. And that means he did about 6,949,915.35 newtons of force, and he exerts this with a couple punches. This is close to Homer Simpson's feat of strength, if you haven't seen that video. As for speed, he took about 22 seconds to leave this massive building, and luckily, this building actually exists. It's the Cardiff University in Cardiff. And to get outside, by looking at the interior, he approximately travelled 200 metres, and therefore went about 42 kilometres per hour. This is almost Usain Bolt's record, by the way. As for durability, he is practically unfazed after an electric blast from a Zygon that disintegrates humans. For intellect, he turned an entire ship into a magnet without any other resources other than the ship's engine. And that was a big episode. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe to this guy. He's my mate. He does like animations and shit. Bye-bye.
In 2077, what makes someone a criminal? Getting caught. Welcome to Caught City. Why do you come? dick. Welcome.